Are we on? Hang on. Good morning, everybody. We are glad you came out on our another rainy morning. How many rainy mornings in a row have we had? About 112, I think, anyway. Well, good morning. Glad y'all could join us for this fun meeting. We're going to start our meeting with our invocation that's going to be offered by Mr. Oliver, and then we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this day you made for us. And we're grateful for the opportunity to gather together as we discuss the business of a wonderful city. And we endeavor to protect your beautiful creation here and ensure its viability into the future. Please walk with us, impart your wisdom, lead us in the direction you would want us to go. We pray all of this in the glorious name of our Lord and Savior, our Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. That was a wonderful invocation. First item on our agenda that we need to take care of is our approving the minutes from the July 15th council work session, our regular council meeting, and our August 6th special call meeting. Motion to approve these minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Second, thank you, Dan. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving these minutes, signify with aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved as presented. Next item is the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt our agenda as presented.
I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Dan. Second. Thank you, Jim. Discussion. All right, all in favor of adopting the meeting's agenda, signify with aye.
Aye.
It shall go forth and is adopted. All right, mayor comments and remarks. I'm glad to see people coming and we can have a good discussion. We'll hear from y'all in a little while. Thank y'all for coming. Council, any comments? Silent this morning. Okay, all right, let's move on to the city manager report. Jason, would you please present your city manager's report at this time? And y'all look at his pitiful chair.
Well, I do have a new chair, but I brought this from in here, still has use for this. But, good morning, Madam Mayor, council, everybody in attendance, everybody's on Zoom or not, but busy, just our busy time of year. I know we've got department heads here, they'll talk about some of the things they're doing, but in previous meetings, I know we've talked a little bit about BMS Pay, which is we're looking to roll that out here very soon. That's gonna allow us to email utility bills. There's some other things I think people will like. You can pay by smartphone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're working out those kinks, hope to have that rolled out very soon. We are also partnering with Black Mountain. That's the BMS, Black Mountain software. We've used them for about 10 years now. We use them for accounting, utility billing, permitting, et cetera. We're fixing to go with them on our property tax module. We have some efficiency there, so we're excited about that. Speaking of property tax, we literally just got the consolidation report from the county. I got it yesterday. Have not had a chance to look at the numbers, but once I do that, we'll certainly get that out and make that available for people to see. But probably, as always, we're getting into budgets probably the next month or so. And typically you all vote on budgets October, November. Just want to get that out. As also discussed in previous meetings, I literally just got the rate study draft for the water. As you all know, when we had our audit last month, our auditor had noted that we're really not having the revenue that we need to receive There has not been a rate increase in many years, so we're gonna look at that. But just want to let you know, I do have that, and once I get a chance to dive into that, we'll get that out also for folks to see.
Jason, would you just mention about the state rule?
Yeah, the state of Georgia actually makes it legal for a enterprise fund, which is what our water and trash is. You cannot lose money, and as the last audit said, we actually are a little in the red. So we do not have a choice, even though we have cut, and do everything we can. We do know that we have to look at that just to maintain compliance with the state. So just want to point that out. As you all know, everything is going up. It's no different with cities with the cost of materials and pipe, et cetera, et cetera. Continuing on city financials, as every month, I send you all a report. For this time of year, we should be around 65% on expenditures. In the general, we're actually around 63%, so we're actually doing pretty good there. Again, we continue to try to watch every dollar we spend. Water and trash is at 74% and 71% respectfully, a little above, but as you all know, it's well discussed, workers' comp, property liability insurance, that continues to go up every year. We've seen a pretty tremendous increase in electricity, particularly as you know, with the wells running. We use a lot of electricity and supplies and materials, as I just discussed. So that's for that. On the revenue side, on the general fund, we're about 90% collection, so we're doing pretty good there. 76% on the water and 67%. So we're actually doing good there. And finally, I just want to end on T-Splosh. We received our final payment from the county this month. As you all know, anybody does not know what T-Splosh is, that is the transportation penny tax. That was passed, that began in 2022. That original T-Splosh was a 5-year, $17 million T-Splosh. And the thing about that that's important is that being a penny tax, a lot of our wonderful tourists who come into the community, you know, as they buy goods and services, they're helping to contribute to that. And the most current T-Splosh was a 5-year, $17 million T-Splosh. The city was slated to receive about $1,960,000. However, when the dust cleared, we received just a little over 2 million. So we've actually, that's good. And of course, right now we have about 300,000 in that account. We've held on to a little bit of stuff we've done. We've been able to pave a lot of roads with that. If you've noticed that in the city. And it's important to know that is going to be on the referendum this November. Obviously, I can't solicit for that, but under the notion of information, this will be a 6-year, $26 million T-Splosh. If it passes, the city would get about $3 million for that. So again, what that does is that allows us to use that T-Splosh money to pave roads versus using the general fund, which is your property taxes. And but anyway, that'll be in the November. If it passes, that'll be a good thing. And then but other than that, I know we had a fairly large agenda. This is a whole lot more report than that. I didn't want to take away from our Jim or Chief or Jerry. But if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Council, any comments or questions for Jason?
On that T-Splosh, I've forgotten what the percentage is that the
So
state is
it's
estimating.
about 11.5%.
Yeah, well, I've seen that, but there's an estimate from the state as to how much of that is actually paid by tourists.
I don't have that, but I know that when we were at the county meeting, it was significant. I want to say it was in the 60-70%.
And understanding that some of our part-time residents fall under that tourist category. So even if that number is only half right, that's still a lot of money that's going to us from outside of the area. So
It's definitely been again, a great thing for the city. We've been able to buy a lot of needed equipment, pave a lot of roads, do some culvert repairing again. And of course, in the past, that would have come out of the general fund, which is of course funded by property taxes. So it's great to be able to offset that.
Any other comments or questions for Jason? Anybody, any meeting participants have a comment or question for Jason? Do we have people on Zoom?
We do.
Okay, any questions from them or comments?
Chief, you wanna, yes, we'll Chief Bomas, and we'll go with Terry, and then we'll go with, Jim, so.
Do you all like our new podium? Isn't it nice? I like it.
Good morning, everybody.
It's
I just wanted to share some updates on the police department's performance this month. The accident rates are still holding at half of what they were last year, so that's definitely a positive trend. Last year to date, we were at 35 accidents that we worked, and this year we're only at 17. We have seen a significant increase of suspicious activity, suspicious person or vehicle. We're approximately double. Last year, this time, we had 16 reports of suspicious activity. This year, we're at 38. And despite the increase in the reports, we haven't seen any upticks in burglaries, thefts, or anything like that. So I think that's a direct result of the officers proactively engaging the person or the vehicle and let them know we're aware of their presence and seek an easier target somewhere else. Also, this year we've had 0 officer complaints, and that's a big improvement from last year. At this month last year, we had already had 6 complaints on officers. And to me, that indicates the officers are handling all incidents professionally and with tact. Our public assists have risen significantly. That's 100. We're at 188 public assists. That's any kind of call for service just from somebody outside my house. I don't know, it ranges from just about any kind of call for assistance. This time last year, we were only at 84. So the officers are committed to actively seek out ways to assist the community when they're needed. Visitor escorts, they've went up, and we're sitting out here and somebody's trying to find Mud Creek Falls or trying to get to a rental. We actually don't just say, go here, because that confuses them. We actually escort them to where they're going. And this year we're at 42 compared to 20 last year. And I attribute the rise is just a much higher traffic flow through the city. This past Thursday, Lieutenant Edwards, Officer Snow, and Officer Clark completed their firearms training. Officer Null guided them through various qualifying courses designed to assess their proficiency in both their sidearm and their long guns. Yesterday, Officer Null led a highly informative class at Grace Chapel on protocols for armed intruder events. This was just the first in a series of classes that I think they're planning on having teach. And it's really beneficial to be proactive rather than reactive for incidents like this. So I really want to commend the Grace Church for seeking this information and prioritizing the preparedness and safety of the people there. It's hard to believe it's been 6 months since I had the honor of being appointed chief. It's really went by fast. The earning the trust and building the trust of the officers has been my top priority. And it's not really a small feat, but working with some of them for a couple of years before I was promoted to chief has been an advantage. The trust we share as police officers is unlike any other. We are men and women trained to confront danger head on, whether it be gunfire, buildings burning, or just some kind of critical incident. The trust level required means we literally place our life in each other's hands. And I can confidently say that I trust everybody with the department 100%. And police officers are truly a unique kind of person. Throughout their career, we witness an astonishing 800 to 1,000 critical events, compared to the average person 5 or 8 in their lifetime. And with this exposure, we're exposed to dark aspects of humanity. The unfortunate reality of being lied to most every day can understandably lead to cynicism. It takes a very special individual to be a police officer, one who possesses a true servant's heart. Given the recent decline of men and women seeking to join the force, it's more crucial than ever to identify and nurture those with the servant's heart. Whether it's a seasoned veteran or someone fresh out of the academy, I feel like it's my responsibility to train and to ensure that they want to uphold and execute the plans that I envision for the department. And I'm incredibly grateful to the mayor and council and city manager for the support that I've received to strive forward to achieve our goals that we've set.
Thank you, Chief.
If anybody's got any questions,
That's great report.
Great report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Good morning, not till I come.
You gotta come to the podium, Jared.
Hot spot.
The hot box, yeah.
Okay.
It's
And,
wired with
gives you something to hold
electricity.
Yeah. And the Public Works Department has been reaching out and doing some asphalt patching, some small patching. We're gonna have some big patching taken care of. Doing our routine summer stuff, mowing, right away cleaning, line of sight cleaning, canopy clearing, culvert head cleaning. We've had a lot of pop-up storms and it's getting mud and silt and sticks down toward the culverts, trying to get this taken care of. Gonna be doing some more patching this week, hopefully tomorrow, weather permitting, and, the falls down off of Tahoe, where you go down and walk and enjoy the trail. We've made it back down there and got a culvert put in down there, got the water going underneath and got it somewhat a little more permissible. We'll be doing some more work down there if we can. The asphalt patching will be, some will be us this week and some will be Precision Paving. They'll be doing the bigger patches to make them where they look a little more smoother than for what equipment we have. We have a flail mower to do the banks. It's down right now. We've been trying to take care of a lot of that with weed eaters and other means of equipment, hedge trimmers and that type of stuff. But, we just keep on plugging with what we got.
Thank you, Jerry. Any questions or comments from the council?
I have a thank you. You notice you patched the hole down there at the back entrance,
Oh, yeah.
where evergreen runs into Crusher Run. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
we did one back there. Is there another one?
So I say, yeah, I noticed that you did it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if we got,
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? We couldn't run the city without y'all, Jerry.
all right, we
Please
couldn't
tell
do
all
it
your-
without y'all and the support of the citizens of Sky Valley and the concerns about trees again. We've done had two this morning, pretty decent trees come down, but dead trees falling. We've had a time with them this year. Trees has been a biggie this year.
Did you want to say anything about Kale? Your new employee?
Oh, I do have a new part-time employee. He's still in school, but he will comes in on work release after he gets out around 11:30. He comes in, I think he's gonna be a good asset, got a good head on his shoulders and does good work. And one other thing while I'm here, one of my employees' mother just passed away this past weekend. If y'all would, just keep him and his family in your prayers and your thoughts.
Jerry, do you know any of the details about her services or what?
Yes, tonight at 6 to 8 at Macon Funeral Home. And then tomorrow at Coweta, Baptist Church. Will
What
be
day?
at 11,
We're at the Macon,
Macon Funeral Home tonight from 6 to 8. And then tomorrow at 11 at Coweta Baptist Church in Alto.
in Otter.
Jerry, has anybody started a card or anything they did?
I think
The
the
city is, Karen could probably speak, we've got some flowers and some good things going their way. Yeah, we're on top of that.
Please give him our condolences. I'm sorry.
I absolutely sure will.
Thank you, Jerry.
Anybody else need to talk to Jerry before he slides away from the podium quickly? Okay, thank y'all. Go ahead. Mr. Plywood.
People have put an L in there for years, Clyburn, but plywood, that's it.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, property owners. This will be pretty brief. In July, I issued one citation, and it was for putting cardboard in the dumpster. And everybody knows they shouldn't be doing that. I mean, we've got placards all over on the salt building, on the dumpster itself. And this goes for anything from toaster oven boxes to wardrobe boxes, big cardboard pieces, and not that I do the dumpster diving, but I have had to use a pitchfork a couple of times to reach way back in there, because we have had more than a couple of occasions where the dumpster is actually broken down, and that, you know, is a problem for everyone. So please be aware of that, and if you happen to see, like the chief was saying, maybe you can do a citizen's assist if you see somebody throwing some cardboard in there. Please, speak up and point this on. In July, there were 0 stop work orders issued, which is good. Construction continues on 3 new homes. 2068 Ridge Pole, Chris and Lisa Jacobson, they're moving right along. I'm hoping in the next, hopefully weeks, if not maybe a couple of months, they may be done. 615 West Sugar Bush. David Goodrow, we'll hear about a little bit later on a variance issue. That's coming along, just about done. And then we don't have an address yet. The county assigns that, but over on Knob Drive, James Shosh, he's really moving along now. Just had the roof on. I think he's getting the windows put in this week. And it's going to be a very, very large house up there at the end of Knob. Fortunately, and some of you that drive Evergreen every day, I was finally able to issue a certificate of occupancy for 71 Evergreen. That's the house next to the fire chief's house, if those of you that may be aware of that. The only thing right now, they're waiting for the driveway. They're doing some punch out work, so you may see a couple of trucks there. But the driveway, obviously with the weather we've had, they're waiting for the rain to stop. And they're going to be having a concrete driveway poured. We've got 3 potential new home construction permits pending. One on Saddleback Circle, which the gentleman that owns that property told me that he should start construction in October, but he's looking to bring in the plans and submit the application here, hopefully in the next few weeks. Covered Bridge, the contractor's not here today, but he told me that is imminent, right at the corner of Covered Bridge, Ridge Pole, and LaBelle Circle, right on that corner lot there. And it's going to be in fact, just about identical to the one up on Sugar Bush for David Goodrow. And so we're excited to have some new construction, single family residence construction going on. And then just yesterday, I have the plans, and I think I'm missing 2 items regarding the paperwork for the permit application for some new construction up on Ridge Pole, up near White Oak Ridge at the gates there. And that's going to be a very nice home, apparently $2.2 million, I believe. It's a big home with incredible views, so that'll be something to look forward to. Year over date, in 2025, 14 building permits have been issued and 17 tree permits. And in 2020, this month, this is last month. And in July 2024, 22 building permits and 16 tree permits. So year over year, we're looking at 135 permits this year versus 179 last year. So we're a little bit below, but things have really picked up in the month of August. So we should be an uptick in that. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Plywood? Anybody in?
Mayor, I'll just add, I know some people may think we're being nitpicky about the cardboard, but it really is kryptonite to that dumpster. It just causes a lot of problems. And anyway, so we just want to encourage people to please not put it in there, because it just tears it up, shuts it down.
Is the city giving Jim special equipment to be the dumpster diver or what?
We actually have a public works employee that he's good at doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, we just encourage people to please take it down to the Raven County Recycle if you can. They've got the proper setup for that.
Thank you. Did anybody, our meeting participants, have anything for Mr. Plywood? Okay, we're going to move on to our committee reports. The marketing committee, I talked to the chairman of the committee, Gordon Brand, and he said that they didn't have any new information to talk to this time, so there's no report for the marketing committee. The landscaping committee, I talked to Cheryl Becker, who is the committee chair, and she reports they're just still working very busy at making our city looking wonderful, and they'll start soon. It's hard to believe with fall stuff, and you know what wonderful things they all do for the fall, and our entrance looks wonderful. We appreciate all that they do for our city. Mr. Bill, do you have any committee report at this time? Okay, so the mayoral advisory committee does not. Special projects, Bruce?
Yeah, I would like to get a meeting in the next couple of weeks to start working on, putting things together for the Fall Fest.
Which is when?
The October 18th,
Okay.
correct?
I don't know, I have to look. That's right, that's right.
And so that's forthcoming in the next couple of weeks. I think we have 17 vendors thus far. I got a text from somebody in North Atlanta that wants to know what our address is. She wants to come up here and see Sky Valley to see if it's a place she wants to show her where, so. But in the next couple of weeks, I'll get with Sharon and some of the members and see what's a good date, so we'll get that going.
Great, great. It's always wonderful to see all the people that come to Fall Fest and our Hay Bale Trail, and anybody that wants to volunteer. We will be glad to give you Mr. Turner's number or email, and please let him know we love our volunteers. Okay. Next item is to consider a setback variance for Mr. David Goodrow. Commission Chair, Mr. McAfee, would you please summarize the Planning and Zoning Commission's discussions and their recommendations regarding this variance request?
I will be happy to do so. Mr. Goodrow has requested a variance for a carport on his property. Reason being that the property drops off precipitously. Say that word fast.
Yeah.
And moving the carport to the lot line rather than back to the 15-foot setback will enable him to put the carport in without having to put, $100,000 in foundation because of the drop off. He's not coming into the right of way. He's still staying on his own property, but, and not moving sideways towards the neighbor's house at all. None of the neighbors objected. Several of them came forward and had positive responses. The committee has recommended that the city grant this variance request.
Okay, questions or comments from the council?
Just that I visited the site and inspected it, and I think it's a great project, and I don't think anybody could object to this.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Okay, all right, I need a motion to approve the variance request as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So moved.
Okay, Karen, we're gonna go with Jim and Bruce, okay? All right.
Sorry, Dan.
We got first and second discussion. All in favor of this motion signify with aye.
Aye.
It is approved. Mr. Goodrow, are you going to do a happy dance as you leave today?
Thank you very much. We need a carport, and I would like to extend my thanks to Jim Plywood for all his help in being in compliance with regs, et cetera, and we will move forward with the carport and look forward to completing it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I agree. Jim does a great job of helping everybody in the city. Thank you.
Whatever his name is.
Whatever your name is. But, yeah. Okay. Next item is consider resolution to enter into an IGA, which is an intergovernmental agreement between Raven County and all the municipalities within Raven County to place a T-SPLOST, which is the Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Tax, Sales Tax referendum on the November 2025 election cycle. And Jason, if you'll please introduce the resolution at this time.
Madam Mayor, as I had mentioned in my report earlier, the most current T-SPLOST has matured. And the county and the cities again got together. We've had a couple of meetings, and it was collectively decided that I think everybody has felt that this has been a good thing. The important thing is that for this to be unanimous, if it's not unanimous, I think you only get 3/4 of a penny.
Right.
But this would be much like the current one that just expired. This would be a 6-year, $26 million T-Splosh. The interesting thing about the most current one is there were some perks in this one, that although it was a 5-year, 17 million, we had to stop collecting at 17 million, even though it only took 3 years to get to the $17 million. The Georgia State Department of Revenue has since made corrections to that. So even though this is a 6-year, $26 million T-Splosh, because it will be able to go the whole 6 years, the thought is that it will generate more than $26 million. And again, it not only helps Sky Valley, but it helps all the other cities. It helps the county. You know, we have about 30 miles of road. I think the county has about 300 miles of road. So again, not to sound like a broken record, but it does allow us to do things without, you know, that tax is generated primarily to the tourist versus what you feel up front as a property taxpayer. But this just puts it on the referendum for November. It's my understanding that all of the cities in the county are considering this at their regular council meetings like you are today. And if it's the pleasure of the council to approve this will be sent to the county and then of course to the election board to be put on the referendum for November. So that's what this is for.
Any questions or comments from?
And I will add that if it does pass, the collections should start again next April. Yes, ma'am.
My understanding, if this passes, Sky Valley's division of this would be 11.5%, correct?
Yes, a little over $3 million.
This is higher than it has been in previous years, is that not correct?
Yes, but the percentage is correct, it's the same, but
Oh, the
yeah,
percentage is the same.
yeah, we would generate, all of the, you know, everybody, when we got together, pretty much everybody has taken, when I say everybody, all the cities, the counties, has taken full advantage of this. So everybody has spent pretty much a lot of their money. So as we looked at it, the percentages are fair, we feel like, and so it would be the same percentage if it passed. Yes, sir. But it would generate it should generate a little over $3 million at 26 million collection. Obviously, if it generates more than that, we'll see more than that because it's just a flat 11.5% of whatever is collected total.
Any other questions or comments?
Just to point out that this is incredibly important for Sky Valley. We've got the best roads in Raven County, and I think that's what our citizens want to have. There's also an ordinary SPLOST, special purpose local option sales tax, which is divided among the cities and the county on a population basis. Our population is pretty small. We probably contribute more to that than we bring in. The T-Splost, on the other hand, is allocated not by population, but by a formula including what you spent on roads last year, how many miles of roads you have. We've got almost 30 miles of road. We benefit substantially from this, and it helps even out the other SPLOST. So this is a great thing for Sky Valley. It's a great thing for all the cities because roads are really expensive, and otherwise they wouldn't be able to do it. So to the extent that we use roads everywhere in the county, we benefit there too. But it disproportionately helps us deliver the best roads in the county.
And infrastructure too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
infrastructure, thank you.
Now, the SPLOST was on the last referendum and it did pass and we were thrilled with that. And I think our portion that we will receive is almost $600,000 for the SPLOST. And we had to come up with a list of what we want to, as a city, use that money for. And it's We can do brick and mortar stuff. What else do we got going?
Madam Mayor, it was, I think approximately 595,000. That's over 5 years. So you're talking a little, we won't see that. It's about 100,000 a year. We earmarked, 400,000 for infrastructure. That could be water improvements, road improvements, et cetera. And then there was 100,000 set aside for vehicles such as police cars, things like that. And then the 95,000 is, 50,000 that was set aside for building maintenance. And then we set aside, I believe, 45,000, which would essentially maybe be another pickleball court or something like that.
Yeah.
Something, so was what that could go towards. So yeah, but again, that, the current SPOS, of course, that's separate from T-SPOS, the T obviously transportation, but the SPOS, that penny tax, that literally just expired last month also, even though they're in different cycles, it was a longer one. We had received all of that money up front from the last SPOS, so that just ended, and those, I think Georgia law said you have to wait 85 days before you can start collecting. So we should start seeing that money around October, November of this year, because that's when the collection should begin. But where the T-SPOS has been coming in 50, 60,000 a month, the SPOS will probably come in around 10. But still, you know, it's still better than a kick to the gut.
Okay.
Or a busted hip.
Is that our new city motto? Jason?
It could be,
I
I
don't know.
guess.
Anybody else on council?
Oh, I just want to make a comment that, it's good to see that our city and other cities are cooperating with the county. Hasn't always been true in this county. And, it's a real advantage when we have people who are willing to cooperate and work together,
It is.
because we're the beneficiary of all that.
Amen.
And it speaks well to the council and to the, city management, so that I just commend them for that.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
John.
to echo that real quick, I just want to say, as Councilman Allen already just said, when we had the fires back in the springtime, and Chief Bomas can attest, the level of cooperation we got from the county, from the sheriff's department, from the chief deputy. I haven't seen that in about 4.5 years. So, you know, I think definitely things, Raven County, the cities, you know, things are looking up. So,
And from the forestry division too, they were wonderful too.
yes, ma'am.
Let's not say the F word too much.
No,
We
no,
don't want-
no.
we don't want that in, but yes, I agree. That was wonderful. Anybody in the peanut gallery need to say anything? Would you please come, or just sit?
I just have a question.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I'm not familiar with.
Your
the-
name and address.
Michelle Herschel, 108 Ridgepole.
Okay,
I'm not familiar with the sales tax in Georgia, but in Florida, we had a discretionary sales tax that came from the state. Do we have that here in Georgia?
I do not think so.
Because that could be a revenue source also.
Right. How does that work?
So cities and counties, they have a cap on how much they can add on to the state
Right.
sales tax.
We have that here.
Yeah.
There's a cap on that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes, sir. I think I know you, Mr. Chris. What-
Chris Pence,
Yeah.
667 Driver Lane. Is that money all earmarked that gets for the SPOS? It's all,
Yeah.
it's not in any general funds, it's all
It's
earmarked before we even spend it. It's all got to go to.
We have to identify projects,
It's in a separate account too.
yeah.
Separate account.
Yeah, there's, the city actually has 7 bank accounts. We have a T-SPOS account, general fund, enterprise fund, marketing court, et cetera. And once the SPOS starts generating, we'll have 8 bank accounts. Yes, so we, you know, our auditor pretty specific on how that is, you know, yeah, so, you know, but that money is earmarked particularly for identified projects. Yes, sir.
That answer your question,
Yes, ma'am.
Chris? Anybody else? Anybody online? Thank you. All right, so with that in mind, I need a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim. That's for the first, and thank you, Dan, for the second. All right, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of this motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Okay, the IGA resolution is adopted. All right, next item, consider approval of the annexation and rezoning ordinance for Larry Turlington. This is the second reading. We've already had one reading. And then we will be able to do the vote for the adoption at this time. Mr. McAfee, would you please summarize the planning and zoning discussion and recommendation of this annexation request?
I would indeed. The Turlingtons, who are present here today, own a property that abuts Sky High Drive. Has not been part of Sky Valley all this time. But they have requested that they become part of Sky Valley and hence the annexation request. We looked at it from the P and Z committee, and the city council has looked at it in one reading. We see absolutely no reason why that shouldn't be approved. They abut Sky High Drive. Access to their property is via Sky High Drive. It just makes perfect sense. And as this was a request from the homeowner, or property owner, I should say, we see no reason to deny it.
And for perspective, Madam Mayor, this is a zoning map of the city. Of course, you know, put things in perspective, we're right here, here's the North Carolina line. This is Sky High. This piece right here, this little square, is the 1 acre piece. It is, Councilman McAfee said, it's on, it abuts our city, it's accessed by city roads. We have a city water line that runs right there at it. And so the zoning that they're bringing in, right now it's zoned ag in the county. It's my understanding that would allow for mobile homes. There's nothing against mobile homes, but to preserve the development pattern of what we have in the city, by bringing it into the city, it would fall under the 1750 minimum square foot stick-built house. From Speaker Mr. Turlington, he is fully aware of those requirements that it would fall under city zoning. And so I think he is looking to, I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I think from my understanding, the idea is for somebody to buy that property and build a stick-built house. That would be a benefit to the city. So the county, we have not had any objection from the county. So the recommendation is like I said, this would be the second reading adoption, is that it's the pleasure of the council to bring this in with the SF or single family zoning.
Okay. Questions or comments? Thank you, Jason. Questions or comments from the?
And the Turlingtons are here if anybody has any questions. I think y'all are well informed, but if you need information.
Okay. Questions or comments from the council?
No.
Okay, so did you make the motion or not?
I didn't, but I will,
Okay.
if Jim will let me. I move that we approve this annexation request.
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, discussion. All right, all in favor of this motion signify with aye.
Aye.
It was unanimous.
Welcome to Sky Valley.
Welcome to Sky Valley. You're welcome your taxes too. Thank you so much.
Well, I was gonna- they will be paying city taxes now, so
I guarantee you just made several people happy that people owned the lots across the road to houses. They were so afraid that I tell that somebody put a little trailer or something in there, they were panicked.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
now this takes care of that.
So are they paying you for this?
No.
And
on plenty there.
on a side note, Madam Mayor, I know the map's down, but there's actually a 2 acre piece that's right next to it.
That's it.
I believe, from having conversations with the Turlingtons, that owner has at least indicated interest to possibly coming before the council at some time in the future.
So his property fronts.
It would abut, so yeah, it would also be eligible to annex if they chose to do so, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of an infill area up there, you've got a little pocket of county that's there, but,
I don't understand why it didn't.
so anyway, so yeah, this should be a good thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, welcome neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome. All right, our next thing. Let me get to where we are. All right,
Thank you.
you are welcome. We can talk about you now that you're leaving.
Absolutely.
That's what it works
Have
for.
something nice to say.
All right, consider a resolution to surplus city equipment. Jason, if you'll please present the resolution to surplus city equipment at this time.
No, as you all know, from time to time, we have equipment that gets well used. We try to take care of stuff and use it as much as we can. The property, it does take a lot of abuse. We have and Jerry's here, he can elaborate, we have a 2023 Tiffermac flail mower that's not very old. But it's a piece of equipment that we bought. It's made in Germany. All the parts come from Germany. We've had the company that we bought it from, AgPro, they've worked with us, but it just spends more time tore up than it does being utilized. And again, it's not from abuse, it's just from a lot of use. And Jerry and I talked about it. And as you all know, the county, the city has been very proactive and again, plugging T-Splosh to buy a certain amount of equipment. We have identified a flail attachment that can attach to our Bobcat excavator. Because right now, another thing too, there's a safety aspect that I want to share about this. The flail attachment, when I say flail, it's like an arm that has blades that you can kind of go up and clear right of way and things like that. It attaches to a John Deere tractor that we have that does not have a cab. Mr. Shields, who was our risk management professional, as you all know, we've made changes over the years. Everything from the police car replacement to the in-ground cans we've taken out. He whacked us pretty good on that. He said, look, that's a safety thing. You really need to do away with that. So there's another reason for that. Safety is really the most important, one of the most important things, or it is the most important thing with our staff. And when you've got spinning blades and you've got an open cab, there's a chance for things to fly up. So that's another reason why we're getting rid of this. But the attachment that we're looking to get, it will attach to the Bobcat excavator, which does have a shatterproof enclosed cab. But we're asking to surplus this. We will put that on Gov Deals. We've had a lot of success on Gov Deals over the years selling equipment. We most recently sold, I forget what we got, but that Toyota Tundra that y'all surplused, I believe, last month or month before last, it wasn't even running, and I think we got almost $4,000 for it.
Is that the one the engine caught on fire?
No, ma'am, that
Oh,
was, well, it may have, guys, I don't know, Jerry, but no, it wasn't even running, but the point of that is that we've had a lot of success with Gov Deals. They're a great partner, that they specialize with cities and counties and school systems, local governments, authorities who surplus stuff, but the request is, we would like to surplus this piece of equipment. Do our best to get on board, and then of course we'll use those proceeds to get a safer attachment. So that's the long and short of it.
Questions or comments from the council?
What's the cost of the attachment?
The one we're getting is about 7,000. This one was a little over 10 that we bought. Again, at the time, we did not own the excavator. So you kind of have, just like you kind of have a lock to a key, you have to find a piece of equipment that will fit a 20-year-old John Deere tractor. And we were looking for this. But it's been a great piece of equipment. But again, the biggest thing, the maintenance side is one thing, but the biggest thing is the safety. It's just because,
safety, and when it goes down, it's hard to find anybody to work on it after the warranty went out, and the parts was from somewhere in Italy.
Germany.
Germany. And you had to have, you could, let them say reach out to us and you dial the number and you couldn't get through to them because we didn't have
and I believe, correct me, Jerry, this attachment is made in Tennessee that we're getting, is that my understanding? So we're dealing with a USA made vendor that's just up the road, as they say.
the reach with the excavator will be a lot more than what the flail mower was, and you'll be able to actually be able to watch and see what's going on other than driving the tractor, and having to look back and that kind of stuff. The new attachment would be, it will be wider as well, more durable. I think it'll just withstand what we need it to do a lot better than what that flail mower been doing. So,
Thank you, Jared. Anybody else on the council? Okay, anybody? Mr. Pence?
Yes, is there a chance that they could be used by the golf course? It would be Steve Mason. Could you reach out to him and see if there's any interest there first before you go?
Well, Georgia, the way Georgia law is, I mean, they could certainly, they'll have to bid for it, obviously, if they chose to do so.
If you put on GovDot.
Yeah, I mean,
If you didn't,
you know.
I think we have to put it up for bid, right, whether it's on gov.news.
Well, the only other option, I guess, would be if you wanted to give it away, but I mean, we did pay a fair amount for that, but,
Steve has a sickle mower on his excavator that he uses, and he's got some on a tractor that he pulls behind with a bush hog. It would probably be of interest, but he would probably run into the same thing that we have been with it, just to be honest.
Really, Chris, it really seems like every 5 minutes this thing has been in the shop.
well, that's fine.
But-
I just
but-
benefit the city in a different way.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
we just offer that and see if there's interest, and if he has to bid, he has to bid, but,
Well, please have Steve come.
well, I mean, we have a good relationship with them, and I don't know. Jerry, I know you talk to Steve weekly, if not daily. Certainly,
I'll reach out to him and tell him that if we're gonna put it on there
Yeah.
and see what it says,
Yeah.
because actually we have, the city at one point purchased a four-wheel drive mower from the golf course that was had hydraulic front deck on it and all that, and we bought it and used it for several years.
Well, that's another good thing about Sky Valley, all the entities, the club, the timeshares, the city, they all work well together, and that's wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. Yes, sir.
And I was remiss before, I wanted to thank Jerry and you for getting that paving done on number 5 at the golf course.
Yeah.
I mean, it was needed, but I know you guys did a lot of work to get that in, so.
Would you explain a little bit about that, Chris? What was that?
Oh, well, there's a cart path that runs along number 5, but it also leads to the watershed, or at least the water pump at the end of that thing.
Right.
And when it was originally designed, it wasn't designed for vehicle traffic. So there was deterioration in the cart path that the golfers use to get down to the water pump. So the city, after Steve did most of the prep work to dig out the old asphalt, level it out, you did bring a bed of gravel in, and you had Precision pave that all. So if you look at to the left of number 5 hole with that cart path, it's all been repaved all the way from the watershed to the street.
We were glad to do that.
and to expand on that, Madam Mayor, we actually have lease maintenance agreements. We have, 3 wells on golf course property. And so we have agreements with them where we are obligated to help with that maintenance. Those are
Number 4, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
So we again, under cooperation, Steve and his guys, they did help us out with a lot of the initial base repair.
Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. Anybody else? Okay. Have we voted on this? We have not. All right, I'm confused. Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All right, all in favor of this resolution, signify with aye.
Aye.
And as they say, so let it be written, so let it be done. The resolution to surplus city equipment is approved. Okay, other business. This is where we have the public forum and general comments. Any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda as a public hearing may speak to the council for a maximum of 5 minutes. which will be timed by our city clerk, because she doesn't have anything else to do back there but take copious notes. The speaker, when recognized, must come up to our new podium and identify by name and address before speaking. Please know no formal action can be taken. It's essential that we continue discussions with our citizens, and we appreciate you taking the time to do this and let us know what you are thinking. Please keep your comments thoughtful, objective, and with civility, reflecting our shared commitment to our community. With that being said, do I have anybody wishing to take advantage of this opportunity at this time? Please raise your hand. Okay, I believe it's Ms. Beasley. Yes, ma'am. Come on up and give us your name and address, please. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Sue Beasley. I live at 539 Overlook Way. I'm a full-time permanent resident and a registered voter for Raven County. Neighbors, I'm recently retired now, but I had a career as a registered nurse who specialized in catastrophic neuro brain injuries, and more recently an owner of a couple small businesses. I'm an independent, critical thinker. I'm one of those that doesn't get their opinions from friends or spouses or social media. I'm a go to the source, dig deep, analyze kind of person. I form opinions and make decisions based on my own research and as much data as is available. And that's exactly what I've done regarding the septic to sewer project and the proposed new developments. I've read every single word multiple times of the now famous 2017 septic study. I've read the 2 grant submissions, the GEFA and the ARC. I've read the council meeting agendas, packets, and minutes. However, some of the most intriguing reading is the grant applications and all the supporting documentation included. Additionally, I've also watched the State of the City address recording twice. I was unable to attend in person because I was out of town. And I've attended the last 3 public meetings that the city has hosted. Many of the things I have read and or heard raises significant concerns in my opinion. First, the role of city government is not to fix private property or only offer public utilities to the few, a special interest group. According to the Georgia Health Department of Raven County, every one of the alleged failing septics is privately owned and has been successfully repaired. Interestingly, according to their data, only 26 repairs, they don't call them failures, have occurred since the famous septic study in 2017. That is less than 4 repairs a year. According to the health department, there have been no properties condemned, none deemed unlivable. Further, these are not city government, buildings, or public property. This data contradicts the repeated and publicly stated septic sewer project's purpose of fixing all the alleged currently aging and failing septic systems and the public health risk in Sky Valley. This proposed project does not benefit all the citizens and taxpayers of Sky Valley. In fact, it only benefits the minority. It is my belief that the real drive behind the city promoting this project is for the development, which is clearly stated in the grant submissions. Secondly, it is my opinion that the conflicting information is being presented. Oral and written statements from city officials, presentations, and the supporting grant documentation do not paint the same picture. It is unsavory to me that the Revere 2017 septic study was produced by EMI, the engineering firm that is benefiting from being the firm on the project. In my opinion, the study is basically a sales pitch and a how-to on how to get the project into fruition. This 8-year-old study gives options, funding sources, projections of expenses, and even advice on presentation. Interestingly, what the study does not do is provide any measurable, tangible, or concrete facts about the potentially failing septic systems. There isn't a number, percentage, or even a parameter in which to measure such a thing. In fact, it does say there isn't a way to measure them. I've heard numbers like 200 plus homes, 30% of the housing in discussion, yet nowhere, anywhere is that a number that can be validated. In my opinion, it's speculation. And why do you think that is? Could it possibly be the purpose is to create fear or distract from the real intention of the sewer system, which is development? Thirdly, I would like to suggest additional pieces of information for all to consider. General knowledge states that septic failures are caused by overuse, where the occupancy is bigger than the design, lack of maintenance, and saturated grounds. Both Valley View condos and the timeshare properties have swimming pools. It is my understanding that the pools use their septic systems. Is there a possibility that the chemicals and the additional water that must be pumped through these septic systems is a contributing factor? Also, according to meeting minutes from the city council work session on March 14th of 2025, the water coordinator English gave his presentation, which consists of leak detection. Sky Valley is losing, and I'm quoting, Sky Valley is losing a substantial amount of treated water, pumping 4.5 million and only selling 2.5 million. Several small leaks have already been found. Mayor asked if this is typical for a mountain community, and Rick Barron answered yes. English went on to talk about the different sources to help with the leak detections. Could this be a contributing to the saturation of the ground? Could the city's leaking water or the condo and timeshare's own pools be having some causal effect? Fourthly, speaking on water, should the current city-owned water system with its numerous challenges, leaks, and deterioration be the focus of the city's time, energy, and resources versus adding a new project that doesn't serve all of its taxpayers or residents? According to water coordinator English, we're losing more water than we are using. Fifthly, from my business perspective, the country club and its golf course is the main attraction to Sky Valley. And according to the general manager, it's had a record year. The proposed new developments would not only directly compete with its own restaurant, bar, and cafe, it would also undermine its staffing. Staffing is a huge problem in this area because of unaffordable housing and candidates with appropriate skill sets. We could go further into parking and traffic. Alas, another discussion. Lastly, and possibly one of the most important issues is financial. The city already has approximately $1 million in debt. The warning of rising costs versus static revenues was an issue that the State of the City addressed, and also this cost rising concept noted multiple times in meetings, minutes, estimates, and even today. With the city already declaring necessary road repairs needed and an aging, flawed water system which serves all of the Sky Valley citizens, how from a financial position and why would the city commit to participate in a new multi-million-dollar project? I have never understood how this council went from a proposal of a tax increase of approximately 14.47 to 0 for this budget of 2025. The septic sewer project was already in the works, and in the minutes revealed discussions of it having to already have a $6 to $8 million price tag with consideration of more loans to achieve it. Why wasn't a small increase proposed in anticipation of the rising costs versus the static revenues? It's truly unbelievable to me, from reading all of the data, estimates, documentation, and costs associated with this type of project, that it costs $5 million and that no taxpayer funds will be used. Grants are not free money. They are public funds with a strict criteria and auditing. It is my opinion we are way, way, way more likely to see taxes skyrocketing from moving forward with this project than if we are not. And the tax risk will impact all taxpayers of Sky Valley, not just the minority that will be benefiting from the sewer. Skyrocketing taxes is a popular, repeated, and unsubstantiated narrative promoted by those in support of the development if the sewer is not implemented. Those slated to receive the sewer are a special interest group. A proposed legal alternative is to make those benefiting from the sewer a special district. They will have sole benefit from the project and sole financial responsibility of the sewer. In conclusion and in summary, it is my opinion that the proposed septic to sewer project is a governmental overreach, and it is not within the scope of city government to fix private property. Further, it would be financially irresponsible, reckless to accrue new and more substantial debt. The proposed lack of complete tangible data and facts there's a lack of it so that we cannot make sound decisions on moving forward on a multi-million-dollar project. And I think it's a distraction and a blatant misdirection of priorities and resources from the current challenges of the city of Sky Valley. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's all of that. I just have a couple of questions. Michelle Herschel, I'm at 108 Ridgepole Drive. I have a couple of questions. I don't know if people answer them now. If you want to answer them later, that's fine. But after reading your latest letter clarifying things, I appreciate all that. But it did bring up some questions for me now that this is just a conceptual concept. And it has to do with the condos. So if it is let's just say that this development doesn't happen. So the sewer system will then be used for the condos and timeshares. Are there contracts or agreements with all of these condos that they will take service with
Do you want
us?
to address that, Jason?
Ms. Herschel, we've had conversations with the timeshares, Valley View, et cetera. They do realize that if the sewer happens, and our city attorney's here, he could further elaborate, but, Georgia law does allow sewer providers to require them to tie in. But nothing has been agreed to. Again, we don't even know if we're gonna even get this other grant. There's just so many things and the future, the development plan, I think you referred to, that's just a concept plan. We saw it 2 hours before they presented it. So it's, but anyway, we've had conversations with them so that they can, if this project were to happen, they can prepare themselves accordingly to do that, but, nothing, again, nothing has been signed or anything.
Okay, and you can understand our concern that we then have a water treatment plant that is serving nobody, if there's no conceptual development made and the condos and timeshares that take it. So I've only got a couple more questions. The cost to operate. I haven't seen any numbers. Are you gonna hire new staff to operate? Who does?
There is, I believe in the ARC application, there is an estimate. So there's a breakdown of the cost to build the plant. And then there was, I believe, first year operational cost, I want to say it was 100 and, hey, I can get that to you. It's obviously it's public record. We can get that to you if you need it, but, from speaking with our engineers, there would be some redundancy, meaning that there are some things that are, just like our public works guys, they do water, they do roads, they do trash. We believe there would be the ability to do some of the sewer, but we may have to hire 1 or 2 employees. Again, we don't know.
And those costs would be rolled into the.
They would be funded by the operational of the sewer system, yes, ma'am. Just like we have water employees that they're funded through the user fees, operational expenditures. If the sewer system would also fund the salaries and.
So that would not be rolled into the general.
No, ma'am, those employees would be funded. We have employees like, for example, Mr. English, our water coordinator, his salary is funded entirely through the water system.
Okay.
Not the general fund.
Thank you. So I just listened to the last meeting on video. I wasn't here, I was out of town also, but the way I understood it was there is just one condo community that is having septic problems at this time. And, for your clarification letter, you did put in that people have property rights. Well, people also have property responsibilities. And these condo owners are responsible for their septic.
Exactly.
I am responsible for my septic. And I don't understand why we're looking at a system to take care of other property owners' responsibilities.
And Michelle, I hear what you're saying, but we've got to take into consideration, and we've gone through this before several times, where condo septic systems have been replaced several times, and there's no other place that the county will let them rebuild their septic system. So at that point, and we have had one condo here that was told that they would have to get out, that they could not occupy their condo because of this. They went through some unique methods and moved their septic system to a questionable place. That's all I'm gonna say. So that is a fear, because our condos are older, And our ground is very rocky, sandy, and not the best place to have septic systems. That's why some of this is happening. And we think, according to our experts, that it's gonna start happening a lot. I can't give you a number because, you know, it's just whatever they do. And we've got a lot, I mean, how many people check their septic systems? Every 10 years.
Every 3 years.
You all are exceptional. That's true, yeah. So that's where that's coming from. Did that say? answer your question? Okay.
May I add just a
Sure,
couple things,
go for
Madam Mayor? The 2017 study was obviously done by previous mayor and council, and yes, it doesn't really get very specific. It does have a clear pattern of talking about aging systems. In 2021, the state of Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, I guess Governor Kemp, during that budget year, he set aside $15 million for 5 grants, $3 million grants. We did use that study to get that. Nothing has been done there's not been 1 cent drawn on that. And of course, the intent of that is the septic, the sewer, the conversion. That source document was what we used to compete and get awarded for that grant. If this sewer system happens, again, we're waiting on this $2 million. If we don't, we're back to square one. Because we knew that the $3 million were not fully fund this plant. These timeshares, these condos, they're going to have to abandon their systems. They're gonna have to have them pumped out. They're gonna have to pay for that. They're gonna have to fill that in with rock and dirt. They're gonna have to pay capital fees that could be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. So there are expenditures they're going to have to incur to do this. So it's not like they're just gonna be able just to freely tie in, just like they would have to spend money to fix their septic system. They would have to spend probably a substantial amount of money to tie into the system. So I think that's important to know that, again, we've had those conversations with the timeshares, the condos, and they're gonna have to prepare to do that if this ever happens. So we're trying to be as transparent as we can about that.
We have another large condo system that I have talked to the people on the board members and so forth, that their septic system is failing big time. In fact, I think our golf course is the recipient of some of their stuff. Yeah, and they don't know what to do. So, I mean.
And who is that?
Valley View.
What kind of?
Valley View.
Oh, the same one we're talking about.
I don't know. Is that where you live?
I'm only, no, I don't live there.
Okay.
I'm only doing what I listened to at last meeting. I only heard one condo development.
Well, right now,
Currently has a problem.
Well, one right now is all the sewage is coming up to the surface, and it's all laying on the surface right now.
I'd just like to mention, Jason and Holly and myself met several months ago with the combined boards of the timeshares. We discussed the fact that this sewer system was in the works or in the planning stages. They were thankful because they are spending a fortune keeping up with their septic systems. They want the sewer system because they can't keep up.
And some of it is going into our streams and groundwater, and that certainly affects all of us at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to bring up Florida again. But there's lots of condos down there, and assessments are a given for condo associations. It's not a new concept at all. And if that's what they have to do to repair whatever they have to do for these septic, I mean, has anyone actually talked to them and said, have you done studies? How much is it gonna cost you to, well, I guess they did just.
Yeah.
So they know how much. So each condo owner knows how much they're gonna be assessed.
They have an idea. There's been some preliminary numbers. Of course, also, it's important to note that they will have not only a tap on fee, but they're gonna have a user fee every month, just like you pay a water, a minimum. That number is probably gonna be somewhere between $70 and $100 a month. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So, that's another expense they're gonna have to prepare for. The mayor had mentioned, again, this is not advocating for or against it, I'm just stating facts, because the best that I know it. This one condo up on Condo Hill, literally, it was at the point it was about to get condemned. Of course, the state regulates septic systems. Fortunately, an adjacent condo was able to cut part of their deck out, because you have to have open sky for septic, to give them a little, there was a solution there, but there's not always a solution. Some of these systems, the only option is to extend field lines. I know this one particular timeshare, they asked the property owner if they could encroach into their property, basically get an easement to do that. They could not do that. So through creativity and through the generosity of this adjacent neighbor, they were able to cut some of their decking out to create that open air, just to get a few feet of, so they could do that. But there are systems, as the mayor said. I know right now there are a system right now that's got standing water that the timeshare is working with, and it's, you know, these things have been on the ground for years, and that was the intent of the grant. So it's a state grant. It's the money was set aside by the state for these type of measures, and so also I think it's important to note that these grants, neither one of these grants put any priority towards future residential development. The GFA grant's priority is the existing structures. We're looking at doing a 40,000 gallon a day plant. That's all we can afford. These existing structures are probably going to take about 30,000 gallons. The ARC grant advocates for the city. It does not advocate for development at all. And that's for a commercial, appropriately sized commercial. There was 2 letters of commitment by developers which gave support to that grant, but they get full capacity as well. It's estimated that commercial gets built, it's probably going to take 8,000 to 10,000 gallons. What that means is that probably 38,000, that 40,000 gallons is going to go towards that. What may be left for future development is going to be very small. So I know there was a plan show with a lot of development. There's not probably going to be much capacity there for future development, if any. So again, I'm just going to be as honest as I can about it.
Jason, what do you mean commercial?
Well, you know, there's been discussion of a hotel. There's been discussion of a down at the old lodge, a little shop, a spa, a cafe, things like that.
So that $2 million grant has to go for that.
That priority is commercial.
So why isn't the priority, the $3 million grant, and I've read the grant, that can be used for residential. If we're having the residential problem, why are we worried about some bloody hotel going in and using, I just don't understand the focus of you doing that when you say that we have this big problem. And I agree.
It has to just do with, again, I don't want to speak for the mayor and council, but they're here, but you know, it's been clearly stated that the thought is that because we understand that not everybody's going to be able to benefit from this plant, that we would not use taxpayer dollars to do this. And from looking at reducing the size of the plant down, if you got a $500,000 budget to build a house, that's all you got. Our engineers, we've scaled the plant down. We think that we can do it for $5 million, $3 million GFA grant, $2 million ARC grant. Again, the intent is to try to build this using those dollars without putting the burden on the taxpayer. So that's.
And how does it benefit our city if we 10 pieces of property that are condemned?
But no,
you need to come up and give me some.
okay, she's not finished.
Are you finished?
I have one more question.
Okay, go for it.
And again, this is going back to the last meeting that I just listened to on video, but I thought what you said was that if you cannot get the $2 million grant, that you may get 0 interest loans or some kind of a bond. And the question that was posed to you was, you know, are all the taxpayers gonna be responsible for that? And your answer, I thought, was no. Then how-
We have, right now, the city has two GFA loans. We've had those loans, they're 20-year loans. One's about, that one was done in 2012, one 2013. Those loans are serviced through the water, those are water loans that are serviced through the water fund. They're not paid for through the general fund. If that was an option that was explored to go a GFA loan for sewer, they would be funded through the sewer
And
fund.
that would be for loans or bonds, any kind of bond.
Yeah, it would not be funded, it would not be funded through the general fund.
Jason, I might be, because Ms. Beasley touched on this, and we might want Doug to answer this, but the plan is that there would be a sewer district for those people that were within that area, and Doug, you can touch on this better than I can.
I mean, if the project went through, you would carve out a district with adjoining property owners that would be required to tie in, and they would be the ratepayers on that. And if you work in that sewer district, you wouldn't be paying the rate for it, it would just be people getting the sewer within the sewer district. And that was kind of an issue, is like, how much would that cost those ratepayers to pay? Because we're still at stages of trying to accumulate numbers on this, but I think Jason touched on earlier, it could be as high as $100 a month, if not more. I live in the city of Livonia, and we've had sewer problems, and my sewer portion is a little over $100 a month that I pay in the city, so that's not unheard of, just in Georgia. So that's kind of what would happen, is if they would be tied into the sewer, they'd be the sewer district paying those special rates that they get.
And to that point, would any overages outside of the budgeted stuff be the responsibility of just that district?
It'd just be the people tied into it.
I don't think that's been made clear, and I would suspect that you would have some people that would therefore be interested, knowing that they are in the sewer district, that was the case, because I don't think that's the information that's been presented clearly.
Here's the thing. Y'all think we're right here at the finish line on this.
I don't think that at all, sir.
Well, a lot of people do. And we're still accumulating numbers, getting info, applying for grants. We can be turned down from the grant and everything goes away.
Mhm.
So I think just a lot of the hype over this stuff is people getting carried away. And I mean, it's good that you're interested in it and good that you're digging into it, but we're a long way from making, putting up a sewer plant right now. So that's just where we are. Jim?
Yeah, this is going back to something that Jason said earlier, just a point of clarification. There's been a lot of focus on Valley View. But Jason, as you pointed out, and it was my understanding, Condo Hill, there was a condo condemned up there, had nothing to do with Valley View. So it's not just solely Valley View that we're having these problems.
What's Condo Hill?
We're all past the pickleball courts, as you go past the post office, the pavilion, the pickleball.
Where the proposed site for the sewer plant is?
Well, that's up past the.
But that way.
But if you veer.
No, it's to the right.
If you stay.
Overlooking the lodge.
So something was condemned? The county doesn't, I went to the county because I asked the city about.
It was on the verge.
That's what I'm saying. So we need to just, I went to the county and they said nothing was ever condemned and there's not sewer floating around anywhere. So I'm just trying to
Yeah, I
understand.
would have to defer that, they regulate that, but I do know that when Mr. Reese contacted me, and at the time, I don't know if Jim was here, but, trying to solve an issue, fortunately, there was a solution in that neighbor was able to, because we had to issue a permit for them to redo their deck. But, I do know that there may not be opportunities to resolve things like that in the future. Some of these systems, if that would not have happened, it would have gotten condemned because the only option they had was to try to get an easement. And I know the adjacent owner was not interested in doing that.
Okay, quickly, one more thing and
I
then we
just
got
have
to
a
move on.
request, since we weren't just talking about sewer districts, if maybe the attorney could provide in the next meeting, something, what is it?
Yeah.
Who is it? Is there a board?
As we get closer, we're gonna have a whole
Okay.
bunch more meetings, you all, and with the engineers and with our attorney. Like you said, we're here and we got a long way to go.
All right,
Thank you,
Addressing the
Herschel.
attorney
And-
said that
wait a minute.
there's height
Wait a minute, Miss
around
Beasley,
timelines, and the
Miss
timelines
Beasley, no,
are
not right
posted
now.
to start this year.
We're gonna have
according
to
the
stop that.
documentation.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you were really the audience because,
Identify.
oh, sorry, Gail Greenfelder, 19 Erie Lane. And my husband owned the condo since the 80s, and now I'm the beneficiary. I write letters to the city council and to the mayor, and I don't know whoever sees them, so I felt it was necessary for me to come here so that maybe people on Zoom and everyone else knows my feeling about this. So I'll just read my letter. Mayor and members of the Sky Valley City Council, dear Mayor and council members. I'm writing to address the claim that the city of Sky Valley cannot survive if Harris and Merrill's 575 acres are donated to a conservancy. And this is a rumor that went on that the city said, oh, well, we can't survive if we don't do something. And then I heard a rumor that the threat is he'll just donate it to a conservancy. The financial facts do not support this statement. According to the city's own, and this is from 2023 budget report, Sky Valley collected more than $1 million in property tax revenue and approximately $1,051,000 in total revenue. By comparison, Mr. Merrill's property contributed $9,350 for all this property in that tax year. This represents less than 1% of the city's entire budget. If Merrill were to donate his land to conservancy, the city would lose under $10,000 annually. This loss is negligible compared to the city's multi-million-dollar budget. And at the same time, Sky Valley would avoid enormous costs associated with developing this land, including sewer plants, road construction, water lines, which we already have a problem with our water system as it exists now, and expanded fire and police services. These expenses could easily outweigh the small tax contribution that the land currently provides. Furthermore, preserving the land through a conservancy would protect our watershed, our mountain views, and rural character, all of which enhance our property values and make Sky Valley an attractive place to live and visit. That stability, not rapid overdevelopment, is the foundation of our long-term financial health. In short, the city does not need to depend on Mr. Merrill's land for survival. Sky Valley's existing homeowners, modest new construction, which is so wonderfully managed by Jim, and ecotourism opportunities are more than sufficient to sustain the city's revenue base. Conservation would strengthen our community while preventing costly, unnecessary infrastructure expansion. I have a citizen fact sheet if anybody would like to have it, and these are verified facts, not just pulled out of my hat. And I might point out that I understand that Harris and Merrill some years ago, this is the same guy who bought the golf club and golf course property and all this land in 2004. In 2006 to 2009, he redid the golf course. And then one day when the federal, or not the federal, but our US housing market crashed, he bailed out, gave the property back to the bank, but he's a good business guy. He carved out the golf course and the clubhouse and retained all his other lots in Sky Valley. So he gave this back to the bank. The residents came, and now it's basically community owned, the golf course and the clubhouse. I was called to donate some money or to become part of the community to own this, that my husband and I drove up here and there were weeds up to here. the roof hadn't been put on, the 15,000 square foot clubhouse was a shell. And this guy didn't give a rip. Did not. And furthermore, in his acquisition in 2004, he purchased the gorgeous lodge. Same guy who's owned that all these years and did not give a flying rip about whether or not that was falling down, if the cupola was over, it drives me, I drive by there and I think, how can this guy not care about, this is the showpiece that's center of our village, and he doesn't care about that. So this is the same person that the council thinks is gonna be the almighty savior of us with development. I don't agree. I think if he wants to go ahead, let him do the conservancy. I read something where the most successful communities, their center of their communities are owned by the community. Think about this. Hotel, whatever it is he wants to build, and all these coffee shops and bakeries, that's not viable. We can't find help anywhere. Not at the club, nowhere. It'll be owned by the developer who certainly is gonna flip it and get his millions and bail out. And he probably has already flipped a lot of this stuff. It's gonna sit there and look like the lodge because he won't get help. People won't be able to pay rent on these buildings. Nobody's gonna be able to support a spa that they're talking about. It's total insanity in my view. And we need to do everything we can to try to get this guy. I would suggest, and I'd be happy to contribute, that we do what we did with the club and buy the old lodge property from Harrison Merrill. And then if we want to do a community center and a amphitheater, whatever we want, we will own it. And we will see to it that it is maintained. But to have this guy go ahead and do it all over again, back to the lots, this guy owned some lots, and it's 30 or 40 lots. And he gave it to his daughter, and a Ugandan mission that she had, one of her charities, owned these lots. And now I understand that, and it was donated. Now I understand that the Ugandan mission gave these lots back, and now this Haverty guy who stood up there at the POA meeting, now he owns all those 40 lots. That's great. Let him build his things, let him do nice condominiums for people if they don't want their stairs and big houses anymore. Yeah, they can do it on those lots and not absolutely ruin our whole community.
Ms. Greenfelder, your time is up. Thank you very much. All right, we appreciate you all coming. Anybody else online need to say something?
Nobody's chatting.
Okay. All right, well, we appreciate you all coming and talking, and we want to hear what you have to say, but please know we all are just in the very beginnings. Nothing has been decided. We haven't made any decisions about anything. We aren't beholden to Harrison Merrill. He does own the property, and would you explain, our city attorney is Mr. Kidd, would you explain the use of right of property owners for this audience again?
Yeah, I mean, just speaking generally, like when property is zoned for a certain use, and that property owner has a right to kind of rely on that use when they start to develop the property. And if they make substantial steps in developing the property, then they're kind of locked in, vested in those rights as it is currently zoned. So, like I said, we're a long ways from getting to the finish line on this, but my understanding is that this property owner has started some development, doing their due diligence on whether the market would bear doing this, and also the site itself and some, site studies and things like that. So they've expended some funds to get to that point. So they do have a vested right in the zoning as it currently is. My understanding is that this property has been zoned the same for
At least 30 years.
3 decades.
More
So
than 30 years, yeah.
for many, many years. And so I don't know if that's, people in this room had this position, but I've been told that some people have just said, well, I should just change the zoning on it right now. You can't do that. And you could, but it would invite a lawsuit that we would not win, because they do have vested rights in that current zoning.
The Georgia law provides for zoning changes when it's going to, our roads can't take the development. There's a lot of things. I have a 3-page, if anybody's interested, give me your email address, I'll send it to you. There's about 5 pages of Georgia law where you can downzone, especially when it's gonna impact, everything. And we don't have the infrastructure, the watershed, the roads, there's a whole bailiwick of things, and I'll be happy to send it to
None of
you.
which can be done without providing just compensation to the property owner.
That doesn't say that. That says that you have the right
Federal
to
law
do
says
it. Well, I'm just saying, I'll show you the law that I've researched. But you all could have done that. They could have, with the help of our city attorney, we could have changed the zoning and downzone. Not that no, you can't do development, but you're certainly not gonna put 220 houses in the valley. And anyhow, it's just a whole
That's not gonna happen, Gail. All right, anybody else? at this
Can
point?
I ask you a question? I saw 3 letters. You're saying you're nowhere in this thing. It's just conceptual. I saw the copy of 3 letters of which you and somebody else signed, making deals with Harrison Merrill and making deals with this Haverty guy.
Letters of intent.
Letters of intent? Yeah, letters of intent.
We have made no deals.
Letters of intent that
Letters of
yes, you're
intent
gonna
on
do this, and yet that you went ahead and leased this property from Harrison Merrill for $1 for the sewer, is that correct?
No,
No.
we lease property like, where the waterfall is, because it's their property.
The
We just-
park.
The park, that has nothing to do with sewer.
So, okay, well,
And
I'll
I think
send
we
you and
leased
I'll
at
let
one
you.
point the property where the old lodge is, so that it could be used by the church, but that's it.
In June of this year, so you didn't sign anything.
Not that I'm aware of, no
I
ma'am.
have documents that say there's a lease agreement for the burn pile site for 99 year, and that Harrison Merrill will go forward with it even if the grant is not. And the letters of
Are
intent.
you
are
talking about the
contingent-
property for the
Yeah, that's what I
possible
said.
sewer system?
Yes.
We have not signed that. The council has to approve that. That is,
But there are letters of intent out there, and there are timelines in the grant submissions that say, on county and city documents that say, the timeline will start in January of this coming year, or within 60 days of being awarded the grant, and the completion of the project will be 2 years in February of 2027. So it's listed in several places that the project will move forward within 60 days of grant awarding.
thank you. Mr. Kidd, would you address that, the fact that we had to have this document drawn up and it has not been approved by the council?
Hasn't been signed.
I don't know about it.
You know, she's talking about the lease, the 99-year lease, possible lease if we need Harrison Merrill's 5 acres to build the septic
That we had to have a special
Sewer,
application
for the grant. We had to
Yeah.
have that for the grant.
Whenever you're doing grants like that, the people that issue the grants want to see, at least so that they can document their file, what this would look like. And so that was our proposal, is what we would do if we were on board with this grant. Is we would not buy the property, we'd have a long-term lease on it. So that's what that was.
So it's kind of staged just for the grant.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
$2 million grant that is gonna benefit commercial.
Madam Mayor, the grant, the $2 million ARC grant, we actually worked with the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission to kind of help us write the grant. What you're referring to, these letters of commitment, those were requested by GMRC to strengthen the grant application itself. They wanted, ARC, they wanted basically support or interest that if they awarded this $2 million, it has to go towards commercial, as been well discussed, that there was job creation, there would be commercial interest there, so, that is the reason those letters were intent. They wanted to make sure there would be no conflict of interest, so they stressed that we asked to do the 99-year lease. Again, they're just letters of support that was requested by ARC to make the grant application as strong as possible.
But they're on file with the Business Affairs Community, to the commissioner, they're on file.
So, yeah, that's all public record.
But it's all public record. Nothing's been signed. Okay. Yes, sir.
May I ask a question?
You may.
Okay,
what will it take to condemn the lodge? I mean, do we have the ability as a city to condemn that lodge?
We do.
Okay, and if it's inside it's been flooded, the roof is leaking.
It's in
What-
horrible shape.
It's in bad shape. Can we not force that to be condemned and torn down?
We can.
Okay, is there a reason why we haven't done that? That's question one. Then question two, earlier in the discussion, I understood we're losing more water than we're selling. Is that a true fact that it came from the engineering report? And are we addressing that issue that they?
We are.
That actually, and I should be able to give everybody, if you want this next month, we have actually, taken significant proactive measures. And what we're referring to is that every day, we have to, through our environmental protection folks, we have to account every day for how much water we pump for a calendar month. And then we base that on what we meter that goes through our meters that we sell. And we did notice that there was a loss. And through Rick Barron, who helps us with our engine, with our water system, he said that don't look for one big loss. It's almost like death from 1,000 paper cuts. We have recently, I think you may have in previous meeting, and I apologize for not saying I had him.
No, you're good, you're good.
But we bought some listening devices, some flow meters. And Jerry, if you want to expand, over the past few months, we've actually found several substantial leaks. And that has actually dropped. We went from pumping, 150,000 a day down to about 60,000 a
About
day.
60 or 70, yeah.
So, we've actually been able to find some of these losses. You probably have noticed that a lot of the leaks, knock on wood, have been less. That goes back to, we've rebuilt several of our pressure reducing pits. We've been able to regulate pressure. That's another thing too that's kind of going in place, because we have to account for loss. We have a permit through the state that gives us the permission to withdraw money. And if we are out of compliance, we could be in a situation where we can't pump water. So we take that very seriously. In fact, I had a conversation with Mr. English yesterday. He's actually taking testing. Again, we have to regulate that, so he has to send samples off to the state. But I'm very anxious to see what next month looks like, based on what we pump versus what we've sold. We have seen that significantly kind of go this direction. At one time it was like this, but
we can.
Chris, the bottom line is, we're proactively addressing those water.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing that got done in the last year is that prior to this, nobody knew where the water lines were. We completely mapped the entire water system.
Yeah, that's great. It was kind of hard to find one. All right, that
If you
is.
saw a guy running around
Question, what about the condemning of the building? Is that something that has to be brought by the council or?
Maybe a council.
That would be done by the council. There would be costs involved with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doug can
Would they
address
have
that,
to
I'm
go through a
sure.
referendum to do that, or?
Somebody wants to speak.
Okay.
And why wasn't it done? Why has it been all this time? If my
Well, the
house
church
was like that, you
It was
make me tear
occupied
it
It was
down.
occupied recently. I think we have somebody online that wants to speak. Is that correct?
Go ahead, Carla.
Carla?
Might be muted.
Sorry, I was trying to get off mute and I couldn't see the control. I would like to know, first of all, I don't support the development to the degree that he is proposing, but I do support some development. And I do support, our family supports the sewer system in order to help those properties in Sky Valley who need it, because it's helping my neighbors and I'm not going to be asked to pay anything unless we don't get the $2 million grant. What I would like to point out to everyone is, and I'm sure the council is aware of this, is a community that we own property in Florida has already spent, and I have the information from the city I requested. They've already spent over $350,000 in legal fees. They have 8 ongoing lawsuits, all regarding changing zoning for existing properties. And just today in the Wall Street Journal, there was an article about a community in Michigan who did the same thing. And a federal judge has ruled that they now owe the property owners that they interfered with their businesses by zoning changes. They now owe them $49 million. And this small community in Michigan owes $49 million, and they're having to sell historic buildings and other places in order to come up with the money. So my point is condemning property, taking property, changing zoning is fine. We can do that, but it has substantial costs which have to be borne by everybody in the community, therefore the taxpayers. I wanted to know, do we have coverage, legal insurance, so to speak, for legal fees of this type if we go after someone and they countersue us, or we change their zoning and they sue? And what are the limits of those coverages? Because that is very quickly exhausted this through litigation. The community in Florida I'm speaking of has run through all of their insurance, and now every dollar that they spend on legal fees has to come out of the city coffers, therefore tax rolls. So I just want to point that out, that it's great to change zoning. The community, the city council, whoever's on it can vote to do what they want, but there are consequences, and they're significant because federal and state law has repeatedly held that owners have property rights and you can't just go changing zoning. And for those people who are saying, you know, why hasn't it been done? I've lived here 9 years, owned property in Sky Valley 9 years. Some of you have said you've lived in or owned property here for 30 or 40 years. So my question would be, where was the focus on changing zoning before this? He's owned the property for 20 years, and somebody should have been talking about that either beforehand or after. It's a little too late now because the horse is out of the barn. At any rate, back to my question, do we have insurance to cover costs, and do we know what the limits are? And I guess that's directed to the council or the city attorney.
I could, and I'll let Doug elaborate. We do pay part of our property and casualty insurance. There is an errors and omissions component. I don't know what those limits are, but again, that's for errors and omissions. Knowingly downzoning property is not an error of omission, so I don't know, Doug, if you can elaborate on that, but it's typically for mistakes, it's for misfeasance, you know, things that just happen over the course, but I'm sure there are limits, I can find that out, but again, I don't think that would probably fall under an E&O claim.
I don't know what your insurance policy say. You probably do not have a policy for your own legal fees.
Yeah.
Whatever policy you have as far as any judgments against you, I'd have to look at your policy.
We'll get back to you. Thank you, Carla, for that, for your comments and for your questions. Even if we had insurance, I'm sure it wouldn't cover any legal fees that we would get if we were to be foolish enough to rezone. And we know that we won't win the lawsuit. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to move on now to our executive session that we have on our agenda. And at this time, we do not have any reason to go into executive session. So now we are at adjournment, and Mr. Allred, would you take over for that?
I would be my pleasure, Madam Mayor, having thoughtfully considered every item on our agenda and carefully listened to the constituents in this room today and all that. I recommend that we adjourn our meeting to the front porch.
All right, second. Do we have a second?
Second.
We need a bigger porch. All in favor of adjournment, signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.